Hi, this is Kerry from GHSA. I'm very excited to have Darrin Grondel, who's going to talk to us a little bit today about NASID. So why don't we get started? Tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about NASID.
So I'm Darrin Grondel. I'm the Vice President of Government Relations and Traffic Safety for the Foundation for Advancing Alcohol Responsibility, or responsibility.org. I was also recently named the Director of the National Alliance to Stop Impaired Driving, which I'll get to in just a second. But I also had close to 30 years with the state of Washington, 25 with the Washington State Patrol, and about 8 years with the State Highway Safety Office, the Washington Traffic Safety Commission. And what was kind of cool with that is I actually had, I kind of overlapped as a trooper as well as a director in that role, which was very unique, but it was a great experience. So, and then in April of 2020, I had the opportunity to come over to responsibility.org and begin working in the kind of the work around the impaired driving piece, particularly around the multi-substance impaired driving, which then led to a natural evolution to the National Alliance to Stop Impaired Driving. And so we began that July 29th through 30th in a launch in Washington, D.C. And that really was to help inspire and to really help states prioritize multi-substance impaired driving.
It sounds like you have a lot of exciting work in front of you. So why don't you tell us about one new initiative or technology that you're working on to address a particular safety issue?
So with multiple substance impaired driving, particularly I know in the States, the big hot issue is on cannabis legalization and the impacts it has on impaired driving. And then the big challenge is, well, how does an officer roadside actually detect somebody if they are impaired? Well, part of our work with NASID and with the state highway safety offices, we're providing various grants for training. Standard field sobriety tests really has to be foundational. And then the advanced roadside impaired driving enforcement, drug recognition expert, training, those kind of things. I mean, we've got tests that we can do roadside that show somebody is impaired. And, the idea is we don't have to tell you what drug you're impaired by, but we can show through, your balance, coordination, observations of some of the physiology is that this person is demonstrating that they're impaired, incapable of operating a motor vehicle or those kind of things. And so that is part of the basic training, but then it's what kind of technologies can we provide to the officers roadside. So we've worked extensively on oral fluid testing with the new National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's oral fluid report that just came out. I believe it was in May or June of 2021, is looking at the 5 most prominent oral fluid testing devices and seeing where the validations were between 97, 98% on some of those oral fluids in conjunction with blood. And so I know that there's a lot of people who are like, oral fluid, we're not going to mess with it. But it's just one way to help do is a roadside screening. And I think that that's what people need to understand is it's a screening tool, much like a portable breath test. And that device would be used after the officer has done field sobriety tests, has made some observations, is able to articulate that. We would never, ever encourage it to be done prior. We would always encourage it to be done after, helping the officer to make those determinations as far as a screening tool, and then processing, getting electronic warrant, blood, toxicology, court, and that process. So, but that's one of the technologies we're really trying to emphasize. And, something that I would like people to know is I have a budget in the National Alliance to Stop Impaired Driving to address oral fluid workshops. And so if a state would be interested in having us come in and host a workshop with legislators, decision makers. I mean, yeah, officers are like, oh yeah, this is really cool, but they don't have the ability to authorize purchase, appropriations and those kind of things. So, but we have a process that we could come in and at least just demystify it, answer questions, that kind of thing. So, but that's one of the technologies that we are definitely working on.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
But as you know, our members are state highway safety officers. So what's one thing that you would like for them to know about NASID?
We're here to help support you. We know the challenges that you face in the State Highway Safety Office. As a State Highway Safety Office Director for over 8 years and chair of GHSA, one of my favorite organizations, always will be, is I understand the challenges that each office faces. I know the issues that we're facing with some of the social justice issues, impaired driving, is we're here to help support you. You know, is there some things that we can do for training, or if you're looking at instituting a law enforcement phlebotomy program in your state? You know, obviously we've worked with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Jennifer Davidson's office, helping with that. Also with the oral fluid workshops. Another piece that we also offer, and I have a budget to do, Kerry, is I have funds to do a green lab training. Now, if not everybody is familiar with a green lab, it's very similar to an alcohol wet lab where you've dosed people with alcohol. This is very similar, where you have volunteers that come in, typically are medical marijuana patients that have volunteered, that could come in and actually consume and do these green labs. So officers see cannabis impairment real time. And these have been done in various states of Maryland, Connecticut, Missouri, Washington State, and others. And the feedback is the officers now can see things that you don't get from a video. You don't get from just somebody talking about it. You see from head to toe, body tremors and other types of things. So if that's of interest, we have funds in a budget that we could help set up some green labs in states. And I know that some states are a little leery going, well, I can't use state funds. Exactly. That's why I have funds to do that, is to overcome that. So those are just some things that we are working on. And I'd like the state highway safety offices to know. And really, we want to be a resource. If you go to the national, actually it's NASID, or National Alliance Stop Impaired Driving.org. It's a whole web page set up. There's lots of information and resources. Plus, we have the recording of the launch that we did in July, and with all the presenters. You can fast forward if you wanted to go to a particular section and hear kind of the things like on oral fluid or toxicology and some of those things. So those are some things I'd like the State Highway Safety Office to take a look at and see how we can help you.
Sounds great, Darrin. And we will definitely include a link to NASID right next to this video. So
awesome.
Thank you so much for taking time today. It's always a pleasure.
Yes.
Have a really nice afternoon.
Thank you.